earlier, you were getting into his coaching experience in the NCAA. What I thought you might have been getting into was the exploitation of athletes in the NCAA. I mean, are we all surprised that the women's locker room had this tiny little rack of weights? There's a larger picture going on here. And to me, it seems like I wasn't really surprised. It's like the NCAA that doesn't pay their athletes, that makes billions of dollars off the backs of these athletes that are unpaid. This is not a surprise to me at all.
Jonesy, you're right. And it's unfortunate that we had to see it in real time, what was happening to the ladies. That was unfortunate. And it was really a black eye to the NCAA. And I thought it was big of them to come out and respond and say it was their fault. They need to do better. But pretty soon, all that's going to go out the window because you're going to be able to pay these players. And I mentioned something that's starting to go on that's going to change the game for college athletes, the NFTs that are starting to happen. Now these players are going to be able to monetize themselves even more. And it's going to be a scramble. I mean, you see what's happening with all these trading cards right now.
Sure.
So these players and their jerseys and players who have potential, maybe that's going to become NFL stars that are college players that everybody's going to want a piece of. It's going to be amazing for these college players here pretty soon.
Now, Coach, when I think about these players at that age getting so much money, and I know you had to deal with them coming out into the NFL getting so much money, and I'm sure you have people speak to them about it. Hey, you guys are going to get these big contracts. Listen, this is how you behave in the world of finance. This is how you behave with your lifestyle. Don't blow this money. Okay. We don't want to see, more of these Antoine Walkers and all these guys just being stupid with their funds. Right. I'm a little concerned. How do you address that with these NCAA people? Let's say that this is a success for them and they're getting all this money at the age of 18, 19. What would you tell them? Like, how do you prepare for that?
Jonesy, you're exactly right. I'm really concerned too, because we have seen the National Football League, NBA players, National Football League players, baseball players who are supposed to be young men before they become struggle. Now we're talking about maybe potentially a college freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior that's going to have the potential to have all this money. No one's talked about the issues they're going to have with families, moms, dads, cousins, uncles. Everybody going to want a piece of the pie, let alone what is it? You're going to entitle these players to act and be a whole different way because they're going to have access to cash to do what they want to do. So I don't think anybody's thought about that, but I hope somebody's going to create a company that is going to go around to all the NCAA schools and do something to explain what's going to happen, because no one has ever thought about the mental side of that neither. I mean, you're talking about a young player who's never had money, who has potential to have $150,000 in the bank.
And don't forget, they're not allowed to have agents.
Right.
So my worry is, when does that agent or financial planner, because they're probably going to need someone to help them with their money. Now that financial planner, where does that line get drawn between financial planner, mom and dad? Is that a good option for some?
No, we know that. I'm saying that's my point. I don't think that was well thought out. And then I still don't know, is there a cap on how much a player can get? So if I'm a quarterback in the Pac-12, who's one of the better quarterbacks, and the running back looks at me and I'm getting $150,000 and I'm only getting $20,000, that could be a problem in your locker room. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot.
It happens with pro athletes when you're talking about millions. Imagine the immaturity of I remember when I was like 18, 19 years old. I'm not going to be able to handle that when someone else is getting, grown men can't, have trouble with it, and women.
If I had six figures at the age of 19, my spring break plans would have been off the chain.
Are you kidding? 18 years old, you give me six figures? I ain't making it pro.
I'm not coming back from spring break.
You ain't gonna see us again.
In one summer, I ain't making it pro. I'm gonna be on the news. You'd be like, "Yo, you hear the way Patrick went out?" That was crazy. I'm not making it. I'm not making it to the next level.
The end of professional sports.
Right now, this actually opens the door to maybe some kind of educational class to teach them all these different elements of how to handle that level, like that kind of money.
Yeah, there definitely needs to be like a freshman course mandatory for financial awareness
Yeah.
planning. And
So
I would even say, look at what I think it was Reebok, or at least Allen Iverson's agent with Reebok, what they did for him by putting that money in a trust.
Yeah,
Right? Allen
trust.
Iverson,
That could
Allen
be
Iverson
something.
blew through it all, but now he's going to get
Mm.
another payday at I think 50 or 50. Perfect. Right? So maybe they look at, to your point, coach, they have a cap, right? They put some into a trust. And I've talked about
I
this for a
know right.
while.
That's not the case.
I know it's not the case now,
Right.
but maybe that's
but if they don't hurry up and do that, I just think you're setting players up, families up for a tremendous problem. And you know how some of these things end. Think about the player who all he's been around. I hate to say it this way, is all his family's been around is drug activity. And the guy from down the street says, "You hand me $20,000, I'm gonna turn it into $2 million." And now this player is in jail, or this player's family's under siege by someone. I just think there's a whole big
Think about the women that are going to come around. The problem with that. Can you imagine that?
Problem with women, drugs, booze, gambling, point shaving. That gambling becomes a bigger issue now, right? Because
well, that's why I didn't understand why they say, okay, we understood that the players were not benefiting from the TV contracts, everything that's going. I get all that, but they're still amateur athletes. But hey, look, let's give them an extra $3,000, not an extra $30,000 or $100,000, because to me, you're opening a huge box, and I think in that box is a lot of problems.